fame. Let's go.
Welcome into the 14A Sports Radio Show.
The Wingspan Show.
Very nice, very nice. We haven't had one of these Wingspan shows in quite some time.
What kind of space?
I know. I mean, geez. If you're wondering where Rich is today, doctor's appointment tonight. You know, best of luck tonight with that, Rich.
Gotta keep it healthy.
Yeah, he may or may not join us at some point during the show, but, you know, we got enough chairs in here for everyone.
But no, last 2 weeks, I mean, we have big old Luther Wright, you know, 7 foot 400, and then Chucky Wet, who is certainly not a small man himself. So
no.
It's a little nice to get some space,
Yeah,
you know, little elbows.
We need the room. We need the room now. And, you know, now we actually get a chance to talk. We can tell our own stories.
Nice. What are we going to tell stories about?
I don't know. We'll see what comes up.
All right.
As always, the number to call in tonight, 201-467-4673. We're going to be running down the top stories in sports this week. After the first break, we're going to have a nice little college football preview going on. The season kicks off actually tomorrow night with North Carolina visiting the Gamecocks of South Carolina.
Jadeveon.
Oh, yeah, the freak.
Yeah, man. That you think he does another one of those Michigan hits this year?
I sure hope so because, you know, that was the greatest hit I've ever seen.
You know that got like 4 million hits on YouTube?
Oh, yeah. I remember the day it happened. You know, I posted it to my Facebook, and, you know, I guess a lot of people are still waking up from their New Year's days.
Yeah.
You know, and I guess that was the first time they saw it because there was a lot of reaction. Like, whoa!
I tell you, the most incredible part of that play is that he recovered the fumble.
Yeah,
that
one-handed.
That was
one-handed.
Crazy. Yeah, he's a monster. Well, we'll get into a little Heisman talk, a little college football.
Definitely.
Big games this week.
Definitely. So the big story in the sports world right now just happened a little earlier today. The breaking news: Johnny Manziel will be suspended for the first half of the season opener against Rice.
The NCAA is such a joke.
It is.
It isn't the first half. What even is that?
Why don't you just take away half of his lunch money?
Yeah, you get suspended the first half for like missing the team bus.
Right.
Not for profiting from autographs. Like, it's unbelievable, this NCAA.
The thing I don't like about this is they're admitting something's wrong. Okay? Now, I wouldn't want to do that. I think you're stirring a big pot up right now. But, yeah, if this is your plan, because I heard the quote, too, and they're saying now we hope to have a closed door in this situation. This is ridiculous. This is just the beginning as far as I'm concerned.
I think, what's the beginning? It's the end, man. That's it. Half a game against Rice,
it?
and that's
all that controversy, and you're suspending the kid for a half?
Where did they even come up with a half? Not even a full game? I don't get it. And I guess if you're Manziel, the guys who paid, he obviously got paid. I mean, he wouldn't sit there for 6 hours signing autographs. He obviously got paid. But I guess the guys that paid him in cash. There was no trace of it, and those guys weren't talking. The NCAA has no juice. They have no subpoena power. They can't really make anyone talk.
Right.
And so, they little slap on the wrist for Johnny Football. You know what, though? Good. If they would have suspended him for more than, a couple games and he's not there for that Alabama game, who cares that he signed autographs? Not I.
See, I'm not a big autograph guy myself. I mean, I know George will probably have a different take on this, but, listen, Manziel, absolutely great talent. He's probably going to be missed at least that first half. Maybe we'll see some
not
good.
Against Rice, bro.
Let's say we'll probably see some good TV there that second half of that. So I'm excited to see what happens with all this.
Yeah,
but
that game's going to be over.
But for this to be the end all be all to this whole saga, you got to be kidding me.
But what's so hypocritical about the NCAA? They suspended Des Bryant for the whole 11 games for having lunch with Deion Sanders.
Yeah.
Right. They suspended A.J. Green for 4 games for selling his bowl game jersey. And now, you know what? Johnny Manziel has money and has better lawyers is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And the NCAA, they do whatever they want. They make their, billions and billions of dollars, and they move on. And so that's the story. Done.
College football needs Johnny Football. They need Johnny Football.
I agree. He's the guy. It's Johnny Football and Alabama, man. Those are the two big stories going into the season. Alabama looking at three-peat. The SEC dominance. Their only stumble last year against Johnny Football. But so I guess we're not saving any of this for the college football section.
All right. Well, we're getting a little knee deep to the second segment, but so also coming out today, the article in Rolling Stone for Aaron Hernandez. This was an absolutely beautifully written article.
Yeah, very well researched.
Just a lot of stuff in there that you had no clue about.
What after reading it? What was your takeaway? Like, what did you think after reading it? What was your interpretation?
He obviously had a troubled youth. that goes without saying.
Well, it seemed like it all fell apart once his pops died.
Yeah.
He seemed like he was on the straight and narrow until that happened.
Yeah, that's something that me or you, we don't know anything, how to act or, what that's like. But, I'm sure that's a very troubling time for a guy, and especially in your teenage years when, you probably need your dad the most for guidance and stuff like that. So, he just went down a wrong path. And what happened was, he turned to, tough guys or goons in the area as his, father figure.
You love that word, goons.
Goons. Give me some goon juice up in here.
Let me ask you this. Do you hold – I mean, you can't – I'm not saying you blame anybody besides Hernandez for shooting people, but do you hold Urban Meyer or Bill Belichick or Robert Kraft or any of those guys, you put any blame anywhere on them?
Not necessarily, because, I think it was in the article, too, where they said his position coach there at Florida.
Tight end coach, yeah.
He
treat him like a son.
Yeah, he says, hey, we did what we could, but you only get 3 years with this guy. Like he was Aaron Hernandez before he got to the University of Florida. So, to try to reform a person in 3 years is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I found interesting, and you don't know how true it is. It's kind of unnamed sources and friends or whatever, but, he was on PCP and Angel Dust and all kinds of stuff, and apparently Belichick was, he was at his last limits and, was going to cut him. But you know what it comes down to, and in the NCAA and in the NFL, you got to win. You got to win, so these guys are willing to take the risk. There's a famous quote from a college basketball coach. There's a famous quote from a coach, and it says, they'll fire you faster for losing than for cheating. Right. You know what I mean? So these guys are willing to push the boundaries and push the limits. Obviously, Aaron Hernandez is a great talent. But Belichick, he saw the talent in him and kind of, all right, well, we'll deal with them. I don't think you can assume the guy's a murderer, obviously, but they're willing to take those risks. I was reading to you before one interesting quote. Hernandez got a 1 out of 10 on a psych evaluation.
You were reading to me before?
The worst score. Yeah,
was it bedtime?
I was serenading. It was a little I was singing the sing read.
He's so
the
sweet.
Sing read.
He's so sweet.
Don't call me sweet. No. Pause.
How about?
Yeah, but so clearly, a number of teams took them off their draft board, and he slipped to the 4th round when he was an obvious first-round talent, and so just an unfortunate situation. But yeah, very very interesting article, kind of summed it all up, the timeline, and definitely go check that out. The Rolling Stone article, very informative.
Definitely. We'll post that article within the break on the 14A Sports Facebook, Twitter pages. So if you guys haven't seen that, you'll be able to see that.
And actually, speaking of college football and NFL, the 14A Sports, a lot of good previews. A lot of good team previews. Our boy Gallagher doing a top 25. The top 10 is going to be rolled out this week. Nikki Capides, Keith McCord breaking down the NFL. They got Seattle winning it all. What do you think about that?
I don't mind that. You could chalk 8 wins up to them already. Just playing those home games. It's just an incredibly tough place to go into.
Yeah.
But, Russell Wilson, I think this guy's only going to get better. He's incredibly intelligent. And the thing about him, he's not that rookie age. He's 27, I believe.
He's not that old, is he?
I think, because remember he played minor league baseball.
Right. And then he did a 5th year.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and the great thing about him there, too, he comes right to that Wisconsin team, named a team captain immediately. He only spent, a couple of weeks with the team before that happened. So, I think this is great. I think Seattle, they could definitely use a little more weapons on the receiving end, but that didn't hurt them last year. So,
well, how about their main rival, San Fran? I mean, they lose Crabtree. Right. They got Bolden Davis. They just traded that 1st-round pick, A.J. Jenkins, who was a complete bust. One of the since 1960, one of the first guys to be a 1st-round pick and never catch a ball for his team. So that really didn't work out. But then they went and traded for the Baldwin brother. Who's a huge dude and was very good in college.
Yeah, very good.
So maybe they'll make something out of him.
Yeah, and I know, we were talking about killing people before with Aaron Hernandez.
Usually, yeah.
Well, Mets fan base getting killed all over again.
You enjoyed that one, huh?
I sure do.
Yeah, you did.
Much like you don't like talking about the Phillies, I like talking about the misery of your team.
Oh, man.
So,
I'll tell you what.
Matty Harvey got the torn muscle in the UCL there in the elbow.
Partially.
So, if he requires Tommy John surgery, that's all of 2014 we're looking at.
Yeah. Well, I heard on the radio today, Sandy Olson was on the radio, the Mets GM, and was saying that Harvey had a long talk with Halladay. The Phils are in town, and they had a talk. And Halladay actually had the same exact tear and never had surgery on it. So Matty Harvey actually sent out a tweet saying he's going to be ready for opening day next year. So we'll see what happens with that. I mean, I don't know. Do you just go immediately go get the TJ surgery, or do you wait it out? Tough call. I mean, tough call.
I think, if you're going to miss all of 2014, get all your research done, go see some different doctors, because if you immediately get it done right now, you're going to be out until essentially, September. So get the research you need done. If you're going to miss, odds are Mets aren't going to be in the playoff hunt next season. If you need that surgery done, just get it done, but make sure you get all the opinions and go see Mr. Andrews. He knows everything.
He's the guy. Yeah, that's scary. It like a black cloud, man, like an absolute black cloud. I mean, we get this guy, absolute stud, a franchise, Tommy Seaver. I'm not comparing him to Tommy Seaver, but, along the HD using the new technology. I like it. But, absolute stud, workhorse. And they say, Strasburg, let's go back. Kerry Wood had an absolutely violent delivery. They knew that was coming. They knew he was going to blow his elbow out. But Mark Pryor was supposed to have the very smooth delivery. He did it to his shoulder. Strasburg, again, he had a violent delivery. They kind of foresaw that coming to Tommy John. But Matty Harvey, Ron Darling, Bobby O'Heaton, the guys that do the Mets, the pitchers that know about that. They said his delivery was so smooth, so smooth, and it was completely unexpected, and it's just unfortunate, man. It really is. I'll tell you what, though, this better not preclude the Mets from going out and signing a couple bats, though.
I think it makes it even more of a necessity now.
Yeah, no, absolutely, they have to, and we'll see. This is the offseason. We're going to see where that Madoff money, if that's still a factor or not, because they need to go get a couple bats. But on the other hand, too. I think the plan was always go sign one outfielder and trade some of that young pitching for another one. Now, that surgery, that just shows you, you need as much young pitching as you can get.
Definitely.
And you really can't trade them, because, you got Wheeler, you got Syndergaard, who is absolutely killing it in Double-A. But you can't go out and trade these guys. I guess you got to keep them. So that's where you got to open a pocketbook and go sign some bats, man.
Definitely. Definitely a situation that we will be tuned into. Something else you should tune into is myself on the radio next Wednesday. I will be making my play-by-play debut for the Gothic Knights of NJCU next week during the men's soccer game.
Oh, men's what? Do you know anything about soccer?
Of course I do, man. I play FIFA, and I watch the occasional English Premier League game.
You went to the World Cup game against England that one time. I don't know how much of that we remember, but there's a picture of you with a flag on a mailbox. You were there.
That's what I put when I put the package together of all my radio experience.
The highlights?
That's on the cover. Good Lord.
Oh, that was great. So, do you have a goal call?
Yeah.
What? Just go!
No, I'm going to do a couple things. Like if a guy or a girl does something good, in the game, like he makes a good slide tackle. He does a noble thing for the university! I got that in my back pocket.
Oh, yeah. I think you might want to keep that one in the pocket. What does that even mean?
Now, what do you think? Should I go with the English accent when I'm doing these games?
You're going to do it the whole way?
I'm going to have to.
Well, if you're going to do it, you got to commit.
Or I could kind of have one of the, the guys with the ventriloquist. Like, I could have one guy in this voice and then another in this one.
Wait, so are you doing a play-by-play and
the
color?
Yes, I'm doing it by myself.
Oh, so
I could do both? That. I could do dual voices.
So I don't know if you can handle that. All right, so are you live on the PA over the field, or are you just on the radio?
It'll be internet radio, much like we are right now.
So you got the experience.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you need me to come along?
I should bring that up. I should say, hey, I got a guy.
I got a co-host.
But they're gonna need your student ID number to put you on the paper.
I took some classes at the old NJCU.
They try to get back in the pool. They said,
Yeah, I was using the gym for free, and then I went in one day, and that guy gave me the boot.
What a jerk!
He go, can't come here no more.
So Saturday too, I did the PA for the Bears game too.
Wait, look at you getting all over the joint.
I gotta thank it all to 15 MOFE, the greatest website on the world. Make sure you go check it out.
Yeah, well, apparently we have been promoting.
Or else you get your ass reamed out.
We got spanked before the show. Not literally, but figuratively. For not promoting 15 MOFE enough. We gotta live this shit, man. That's what we were told.
But yeah, everything went very swimmingly well on Saturday night. I didn't mispronounce anything or call anybody a jerk on accident.
You know what? Honestly, baseball is probably the easiest one because the pace of the game.
Yeah.
Soccer's tough, man. Probably soccer, hockey, basketball. Those fast-moving sports. But so, how did you get that gig? How did you come into it?
I've been in contact with the guy since last year because I've been interested in doing some stuff like that.
Right.
But the season's going to start out where all they have available right now are soccer and volleyball. But He's got me marked down already for basketball.
Really?
In the wintertime. And then come springtime, baseball, softball. So
no kidding.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to be the official voice of the NJCU Gothic Knights.
Be a hot commodity around the athletic department this upcoming
That's
semester.
awesome. That's awesome.
But, yeah, I'm definitely going to say, hey, I'm going to need a color guy. I can't do this all by myself.
Oh, I'm in. Count me in. I'll go back to school. I'll go enroll.
Back in the city. It's gonna
like Rodney Dangerfield. Yeah. The high dive with the swim cap.
We got to get some robes.
What?
Got to get some robes.
Oh, robes. Oh, I didn't know what you said. I got a couple robes. I actually took a robe from the hotel room in Atlantic City.
I do that all the time, and Oates is like, "What are you doing?" Even if it's towels or pillowcases or even the shampoo.
I one time took a clock radio from Harris, and I still use it to this day. It's beautiful. It's got I listen to the fan and everything on it. No, it's beautiful.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right. Let's hit the first break, and when we get back, we're gonna be breaking down this opening weekend of college football. First video is from Mia in the Moonlight. It's called Lois Lane. We are 14A Sports on 15 Minutes Fame Radio. We'll be right back.
15 minutes of fame. Let's go.
Oh, welcome back to the 14A Sports Radio Show. All right, so let's get into the big college football opening weekend preview right now. Now, it all starts out tomorrow night as North Carolina travels down the coast to their rival, South Carolina. The Gamecocks are ranked number 6 and are favored by 12.5 points in this one.
Yeah, that's a good one. North Carolina, South Carolina, obviously a natural rivalry. South Carolina, we kind of touched on earlier. Defense led by the consensus All-American Jadeveon Clowney. We talked about that Michigan hit, but he was kind of banged up in the preseason. He kind of hurt his shoulder a little bit. But it seems to be firing on all cylinders. South Carolina, they're looking to win SEC this year, man. That's their goal. They're looking to take the step and win the SEC. I think they have the talent to do it. They have Connor Shaw, quarterback. One of the more underrated players in the country. Of course, they got the old ball coach. Stevie Spurrier on the sideline. Florida, he invented the fun and gun, but they're a little more traditional. A little bit more traditional offense, run the ball a little bit. North Carolina always recruits well. If you go and look at the recruiting, they're always recruiting well. But they seemingly haven't they put a lot of guys in the NFL, but they seemingly haven't put it together in the last couple of years. So the game at South Carolina, you gotta like South Carolina early on, right?
Yeah, I would think so. UNC obviously loses Bernard from last season.
I'll tell you what, Gio Bernard. I put all my chips in the table on Gio Bernard, fantasy wise, man. I've been snatching him up all over the joint.
Yeah, you gotta like him. Gotta love that quickness.
But, yeah, and he was a huge weapon, very versatile last year for the Tar Heel.
Yeah, I think in this game, like you said, you're gonna see South Carolina come out and they really want the SEC not only but the national championship as well.
Well, you got to win the SEC to get there.
That is correct. But I think you're going to see them come out, make a statement here on opening night.
Right.
The whole country's watching essentially. So I would run with that 12.5 and be comfortable taking the Gamecocks in this one.
I'll tell you what, to start of college football, I always had kind of mixed emotions. I still kind of do because the summer's over, man. That Labor Day's right around the corner. The summer's over, and here comes football. Football to me was, when I was in school, football was always like the consolation prize, back to school, but at least you got football. But
those parties weren't too bad either,
Which ones?
At Rutgers.
Oh yeah. The opening back, welcome back to school parties. They probably happened this week all over the place. No one had any classes, and it was just not that I used to let class get. That never really stopped me anyway. But everybody else was out on my level back in the day at the old RU, and actually everywhere around the country. Actually, my cousin goes to West Virginia, and she put up a picture on Instagram, like at a party, just like a million people just going bananas, But. To be young again, huh?
Well, speaking of Rutgers, they're opening their season this weekend against Fresno State.
Yeah, tough game.
Fresno State favored by 10.5 in this one.
Yeah, I've seen it at 7.
Yeah.
I've seen it at 7.
I'm we'll call it 8.5.
All right.
All right. You know, Rutgers got to travel across the country. That was no problem for Fresno State in this rivalry a couple times. I know they come into Rutgers.
Yeah, smacks us around
really
a couple times.
Put some business up on Shiano and the boys.
Actually, Fresno State. We spoke about it before, but my man Grod, has a preview on Fresno State. Their quarterback is actually the Giants' backup quarterback, former #1 pick David Carr. The quarterback is Derek Carr, his brother.
Oh, nice.
And he had a really nice season last year, so I'm sure he's looking to replicate that. I'll tell you what. In terms of Rutgers, I'm a Rutgers guy. Rutgers season tickets. They lost a lot of talent on the defense, but they have also recruited well in recent years. Mm-hmm. You expect that defense to be tough once again. It all comes down to the quarterback, Gary Nova. And I always harp on, any team, it all comes down to quarterback. But Gary Nova, in that game versus Louisville, I was there. Teddy Bridgewater.
God bless him.
Rutgers goes in, gives up a touchdown before the half. But they absolutely dominated the first half. The defense was lights out. Teddy Bridgewater comes in on basically a broken ankle. And, comes back and leads Louisville to the victory. If Rutgers wins that game, they win the Big East and they go to a BCS game. Yeah, that probably would have been good. But Gary Nova played so poorly in that game. I don't think I've ever seen a poor played game at the quarterback position. I definitely never seen one in person. He was just bouncing balls, overthrowing balls, fumbling, he was downright awful. And what you didn't like to see last year, he actually started off pretty well. Rutgers went down to Arkansas, the third, fourth, fifth game of the season. Arkansas was down last year, but still, you go on the road, to a SEC school. And Gary Nova had a game, man, and they pasted Arkansas, and then something happened after that game. I don't know, and he regressed. He absolutely regressed throughout the course of the year, and the regression was that Louisville game was a culmination in the regression of Gary Nova. So a lot rests on Gary Nova. They have an NFL first-round draft pick, a wide receiver, Brandon Coleman.
Yep.
He's a huge talent, huge guy, 6'6". Actually, I read a stat on him. 26% of the times that he's caught the ball, he's scored. Which is crazy.
Whoa.
Which they're not getting the ball to him enough, is what
Right.
it tells you. But no, he absolutely has. He actually scored that first touchdown in the Louisville game. He took like a 10-yard slant and took it to the house. So they have the talent. Also interesting. My alma mater, St. Peter's Prep, has 2 Rutgers guys starting. They got Savon Huggins running the ball in the backfield, taking over for Jawan Jameson, and they got Keith Lumpkin starting at tackle.
Okay.
So that'll be interesting to watch. But I'll tell you what, I don't, in the matchup with the quarterbacks, Fresno State has a huge advantage. At Fresno State, I don't like Rutgers in this one, I'm fortunate to say.
You don't think they're going to cover any of that?
I mean, 10.5's a lot. If it's 7, I don't like them at 7. I don't trust their offense. I think they're going to play defense. I don't trust their offense. And
they don't come out of the gate too well in recent years, and then I know they struggled against these low opponents that they have. I know early in the schedule this year they have two easy games after after the Fresno State one.
Norfolk State,
but
home opener.
Good Lord, they better beat them.
Yeah.
But they, how do you think Nova's going to rebound this year? You think he's going to be all right, or you think he's going to let this harp on him?
I mean, from the quotes, he had a pretty decent spring game. They said, he's looked pretty good, but. Who knows? Until you get out there and snap the ball, who knows? I think a huge key. They have to be able to run the football. Their offensive line should be pretty solid. They got to. He's one of those guys. You got to run it and let him roll off play action. That's how that offense is going to be successful. So that would be interesting to see. That game's on Thursday, right? I think it's tomorrow.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it might be tomorrow. And at like 10:30. Yeah, on ESPN because it's out in Fresno. But. Yeah, but how about the big game? The big game Saturday night, primetime ESPN. Ooh. You got two teams, both looking to make some noise. Both have their eye on the the illustrious crystal ball, the championship. You got Clemson led by Taj Boyd.
This is my team this year. I like them.
You like Clemson?
I love them.
You like Clemson, huh?
Well, I love that high octane offense. Taj Boyd, Sammy Watkins.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a better combination quarterback wide receiver in all the land. We're gonna see what happens this year. The ACC, FSU is gonna be there. We know that, but other than that, I mean, I don't see anybody that's really gonna contend with them.
I don't think Carolina's on their level.
But the thing is, Clemson now they play Georgia and they also play South Carolina at the end of the season. That's the one thing that doesn't work out so well for them. But it's actually those 3 teams. Now, what's interesting, we were talking about South Carolina earlier. They play Georgia next week.
Yeah, that's a tough one to open.
That's a very tough
brutal.
2 games.
Well,
now
they got to at least get one of them. They
now
can't lose
Georgia
both.
in this one, you got to wonder: are they looking ahead to next week in this one, or you got your mindset?
Game 1, I think, actually I saw a thing, on Clemson, Mark Richt, he was saying he's kind of glad that they have this big game coming early because all in the offseason, it's focus his team. You're not coming out of the gate with a cupcake. You're playing for real. This has, I know it's a one loss, but it has national title implications.
Sure does.
At least it seems to be. So, you got Aaron Murray. And that Georgia team, who almost beat Alabama in the SEC championship last year.
Very close.
Stupid
clock
They were
management
right
at
there.
the end.
Yeah, that was brutal. That was a tough way to lose.
Now, 2 things here. One, the early. I know it doesn't mean anything, but Murray gets the nod as the first team All SEC quarterback over Manziel. You agree with that?
Who voted? The coach? You know why that probably happened is
SEC
because Johnny Football has been mixed up in all that autograph
Yeah.
shenanigans, like we talked about earlier. And so they're probably just I'm sure like a lot of people resent them. The dude has money. He was partying with LeBron, sitting courtside, all that stuff. So it was probably just a little bit. I hear you. And he was unbelievable last year, Johnny Football. But Aaron Murray is certainly a very good quarterback. This game's going to be exciting, man. Saturday night, 8 p.m. prime time.
And the other thing too, the second thing that I wanted to mention now, you as a team, you'd much rather take this loss at the beginning of the season than at the end of the season.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, if you're going to lose, absolutely.
But it's also a very good resume builder going forward for the winner of this game. So, if you lose, it's not the end of the season. But, with the position that these 2 teams are in, Clemson has to face South Carolina at the end, and then Georgia also facing South Carolina the next week. If South Carolina lives up to be the top bill that everybody predicts they will be this season, I don't know. I don't think this game really has national championship considerations when you look at it that way.
Really? Well, on that front, to go through the SEC undefeated is I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's very, very difficult.
Look at Alabama. The last 2 years, they lost home games and won the national championship.
Right, yeah. LSU, and then that LSU game was crazy. I remember I was watching that at Willie McBride's, actually. I was watching the TV, and my buddy had gotten kicked out for trying to.
A buddy of yours? No.
He jumped on my shoulders, and we were rocking out to Badlands from Bruce.
That's what gets you kicked out of bars nowadays. They don't make them like they used to.
Yeah, how about a warning, man? How about a warning? But yeah, I remember watching that game, LSU with all those field goals.
Yeah.
And then Johnny Football just went nuts last year.
Mark Barron. Current Buck now had a pick in that game.
Great guy. Great. Good plug. Nice.
Oh yeah.
So how about who are the top players this year? What do you think for the Heisman? Obviously Johnny Football. The odds of him repeating slim to none, probably, right? Especially with all his controversy. But you know what it comes down to? What it's the best quarterback on the best team is basically what it comes down to. And if you're gonna go that route, you got to go with A.J. McCarron, right? I mean, he'd be the favorite early on. What do you think?
He is, but the thing with them is, they're just going to trample so many teams. He's not going to be airing it out like a Manziel or a Teddy Bridgewater or anybody like that.
I'll tell you what, that SEC is so good though. It's so deep. A lot of talented teams.
I mean, this isn't the Lifetime Achievement Award for A.J. McCarron. It's
no. I'm saying throughout the season. No. I'm saying throughout this season. There's a lot of tough games. So I mean, if they do trample him, that means he's going to have huge numbers. In the first half, seemingly. But
another guy.
Did you ever hold on? Did you ever see A.J. McCarron's chest tattoo? He has a tattoo right in the middle of his chest, which is one of the worst, most awkward tattoos I've ever seen. And I've seen some awkward tattoos. It really is.
What's the tattoo say?
It's like a circle thing or something. I don't know.
It's gonna be one of those
Google it.
mom hugs.
Yeah. And he's pulling Catherine Webb. What are you kidding me?
Come on, man. That's what a starting gig at Alabama will get you.
Yeah.
Now, also on that offense, T.J. Yeldon, he had a little bit of a breakout season last year. Next to Eddie Lacy.
Well, they said that Yeldon might be better than Lacy.
Great, and Lacey's got a little bit of a foot problem. Watch out there, fantasy owners. But Yeldon's just as, and you know what it is. All the backs coming out of Alabama the last couple of years are now in NFL programs.
Well, you got Ingram, then Trent Richardson, Eddie Lacy, now T.J. Yeldon. And I'll tell you what, their offensive line last year was basically an NFL offensive line. That offensive line was on. I remember Chance Warmack just smacking Manti Te'o in that championship game, bro. They just absolutely dominated them. But no, it looks to be a very exciting college football season. Speaking of Notre Dame.
Yes.
Actually, on the website, my man Gallagher has Notre Dame preseason 15. I think that's a fair ranking. If you look at their schedule, they have a brutal schedule. Michigan, Oklahoma, USC. Brutal schedule. No cupcake games at all. The Oklahoma game should be interesting. That's an unprecedented matchup.
Oklahoma's going to be looking for revenge from last year.
Yeah.
When Notre Dame walked right in there and smacked them in the mouth.
But Notre Dame not with Everett Golson now. Everett Golson got kicked out of school for whatever academic disintegrity, non-integrity, whatever.
Didn't have his feng shui set up properly.
I think he cheated on a test is what he did. Don't they? I guess at Notre Dame they don't give him the test. But so now they're going with Tommy Rees, who actually came in a couple games last year and saved the day for Notre Dame a couple times. But the Irish should be interested. They had a magical season last year until that championship game. A couple bounces here and there. Manti Te'o,
2 goal line
second.
stands.
Oh, the Stanford goal line stand was incredible.
The USC one.
But they do have that on the D line. They have 2 All-Americans and Lewis Nix and Stephon Tuitt.
You just
I did a. This is my goal line. I was drawing a goal line. This looks like AJ McCarron's tattoo. This thing. Look at that. That's what it looks like.
He's saying goal line. He's like,
I'm drawing up plays here. I don't know. I got all this room here. I'm trying to work with it. But it should be a very interesting college football season. And like I said, I mean, the summer's over, which is unfortunate. Oh, see, there I am putting it up. The summer's over, which is unfortunate, but we got football as a consolation. Oh, how do you go? Are you a college football guy? Or you an NFL guy?
Definitely NFL over college. And especially my wisdom financially in the NFL game, very nice. College, not so much.
Not so much.
But that's the thing. You got to learn. Got to pick your poisons.
Well, you think with all those colleges you went, you'd be
not many great football programs.
With a latch on to one.
Not many good programs.
Yeah, too bad NJCU doesn't have a football team anymore.
Oh man, maybe I'll do some intramural games or something. This kid throws to that kid.
Yeah.
Touchdown. I feel like that's like the soccer games are going to be. Now, real quick before we continue on with college football. Nipsey, what's going on, buddy? He's in the chat room, and he was asking, where are the 14A sports girls? Because they're supposed to be here tonight. Well,
where are they?
They are at the owner of the Bears threw a end-of-season party this evening.
So the season's over?
Friday.
Are you doing the PA Friday?
No.
You just subbed
I
it?
only did it that Saturday. Yeah, the regular guy's been there. But yeah, so they threw a party tonight, so the girls had to be there. But they will be here next week. We have that verified. They were very sorry that they couldn't make it. They don't like to do this. So.
Nipsey was going to come to the show, and then he heard they weren't coming, so no Nipsey.
Sorry, Nips. Chuck Good was supposed to be here live in audience, but he's battling stomach issues, which means he's being a...
Yeah, let's not get into that.
All right, so what do you think here? You got any predictions for this season?
I guarantee you Ohio State wins the Big Ten. Lock that up. No doubt about it.
So you think they'll get a spot in the national championship?
You'd imagine. I think the Big Ten's not going to be that good this year, though. Like last year, they were 12-0.
Right.
They had a stacked defense, but, Braxton Miller coming back. Meyer can coach, man. Meyer puts together, whatever you think of him as a person, the man can recruit and the man can coach. Michigan has that quarterback. They waited too long to go to him last year, Gardner. They should have went to him earlier. But I can't stand. I never liked Michigan, but I hate them even more now because their coach looks like Chris Christie, and it just drives me bananas.
Oh yeah.
That Brady Hoke, Chris Christie looking. So I hope Ohio State steamrolls them. No, I think Ohio State's going to dominate that whole conference. Which actually in 2014, Rutgers goes to the Big Ten.
Oh yeah.
And actually we play at Ohio State, which actually I might go out to that game.
Nice.
Which should be fun. But
they would do a 14A Sports road show from the Horseshoe.
They love us out there. They love us.
Go get some pictures with Brutus, the mascot.
But Ohio State's going to dominate that conference. I see. How about you? What do you like? You like Clemson?
I do, but not to go to the national championship. I see a BCS berth for them this year. Obviously, got to have Alabama in the mix when you're talking about that. But I'm going to go with another SEC national championship this year.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Who do you got?
I'm going to go with Alabama.
Wow, you're going out on a limb on that one,
and Georgia.
Alabama, Georgia?
We're going to see that rematch, the SEC championship next year.
Yeah, but if they play, but that's not going to happen because one of them's going to lose in the SEC championship, and then they're not going to get
contraire
it's the playoff now.
Yeah.
It's the playoff.
No, not this year. Not
Next
this year.
year
No. But still, it could still work out where LSU could, be there at the top and lose. But.
I'll tell you a team to look out for, Louisville. Louisville, bringing back Teddy Bridgewater, who is probably the best. Well, he's definitely the best pro prospect at the quarterback position. Charlie Strong has done a remarkable job down at Louisville. Was the defensive coordinator of Florida, and he's doing a great job in Louisville. And that schedule, the Louisville schedule. I know you're a schedule guy. Go look at that schedule, bro. They should have no problem with that schedule. So a 12-0 Louisville team, they probably get the nod.
I don't know.
Versus a second one-loss SEC team.
I don't think so.
You got to figure, right? The winner of the SEC championship game is going, right? So then you got like the likes of Ohio State, Louisville. I heard Mac Brown on TV. They're looking to make a run. Texas. They've been down the last couple of years, but
oh my God! Look at the schedule.
What is it?
God!
What do you got?
There's not one ranked team on here. Ohio, Eastern Kentucky, Florida National, Temple, Rutgers, UCF, USF, UConn, Houston, Memphis, Cincinnati. They're not beating Louisville.
They're going to be undefeated.
They just beat Florida last year in the friggin' Sugar Bowl.
They smacked Florida.
Yeah.
I told you, Louisville's going to be undefeated. They're definitely going to be undefeated.
They very well could be. But
that strength of schedule is brutal.
Yeah, that's not going to get you to the national championship.
I agree. You know what? They need Rutgers to be a top team. They need a ranked team. They really do. Because who else on there? I don't know.
Nothing.
But they're going to be undefeated. So they're going to bang on the door. They're going to bang on the door. They're going to be undefeated. So
Cincinnati could maybe ruffle their featers at the end of the season.
Cincinnati's the second best team. It's not even the Big East anymore. It's the
American
Conference. Yeah, Cincinnati's the second best team. But Louisville is a good program, as you saw in the Sugar Bowl last year, where they smacked Florida.
True. All right, so in closing, you have a definitive Heisman winner you like this year?
Heisman. Who do you got?
I'm gonna go with my buddy Taj Boyd.
Taj Boyd, Clemson. I can see that. I'm gonna go with Teddy Bridgewater with that schedule. I think he's gonna light it up. I think his numbers are gonna be a lot better than everybody else's.
True.
I think he's gonna be the best quarterback on an undefeated team. So I'll go with Teddy. I'll tell you what, that Rutgers game was disgusting, but he really had a gritty performance.
Teddy and Taj,
yeah. Probably the two top-rated quarterbacks going into the season, at least for the NFL draft.
Yeah, I would say, I want the Bucs to get Boyd so bad. Hopefully maybe they could trade up or something to get him, but
well, they're going to be terrible, so maybe they don't have to trade that for him.
That's not true.
We'll see.
All right.
So you want to come back and do a little NFL?
All right, yeah, we'll do some of that. All right. Let's hit up a quick video right now from Audio Insight called Bathing the Earth. We are 14 Sports on 15 Minutes Fame Radio. We'll be back with the NFL.
15 minutes of fame. Let's go.
Welcome back to the 14 Sports Radio Show. That's from the noise that just made.
Yeah, that was bad.
Anyway. All right, so we're going to get into a little bit of NFL talk right now. But before we begin, I just want to let everybody know that 14 Sports is doing the NFL suicide pool this year. So email us at 14asports@gmail.com if you want to get yourself all up in this. Or, for those of us that know us, just shoot me a text or message me on Facebook or
contact me.
Send the Walsh light out, a la Batman.
What's the Walsh light?
Big W.
Big dub.
It's the Wu-Tang W.
Or it could be the Mully light.
Flip it upside down.
Which way? It's a diverse light.
Damn,
multifunctional.
All right. Well, speaking of that suicide pool, I know a lot of people have actually been asking me. They've been saying, Walsh, you do this sports shit. Who do I go with in my week 1 suicide pool?
Did anyone really ask you that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
They sure did. There's a lot of dumb people out there.
I was going to say, they don't know your betting history.
Hey, NFL.
All right, so when they ask you, they come up to you, they say, Walsh, who do I go with week 1 in the suicide pool? What do you tell them?
I give them a little bit of Indianapolis, or I give
Indy
them
versus who?
Oakland. They're playing at home against Oakland.
Okay.
Should be a layup.
Right.
And then you got New England at Buffalo. Now, I think this is going to hinge a lot because, listen, both of these teams' quarterbacks that I'm going against here, their situations are in limbo right now. Buffalo, you got E.J. Manuel and the Tool.
Right,
and
the Tool.
He should be Tim the Tool.
Tim the Tool Man?
Yeah, I dig it. Now,
is his name Tim?
I don't know. It should be. I hope it is.
What school is he even from? I know he's undrafted.
I looked at it briefly. I think it's like Tulsa.
Oh, no. He's from Washington State. And his career record was like 4-23 or something, actually. I heard
that's why I had so many passing yards, being down 35-0 all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
So you got that situation with him and a hobbled E.J. Manuel. And then you go to Oakland there, who Indy's going to face off against, Matt Flynn, he might have the worst luck of all time, this guy. It looks like Terrell Pryor is making a strong push to become that starting quarterback.
It's not that he has bad luck. He's just not that good.
He's been put in the wrong positions. Like last season, Seattle was all his, and then they draft Russell Wilson. He comes out of nowhere, gets that job.
Yeah, because he was better than him.
I understand that, but, prior to the draft, he was going to be the starter for the Seahawks.
They paid him, yeah. But he got beat out. That's not luck. That's skill, bro.
He got put in a bad situation.
Situations are created, my friend.
I don't even know what that means, but okay.
All right.
But yeah. So these are the two that I would go with. Indy over Oakland should be a safe pick, and New England at Buffalo should be a safe pick as well.
I remember last year I picked. I think it was week 1. I picked the Eagles over the Browns.
Oh, yeah.
And Mike,
I think I did, too.
Oh, my God. I sweated that game out. Mike Vick actually threw a pass. The Browns guy should have intercepted and took it to the house, and he dropped the pass.
Yeah.
I remember I was out in Hoboken, and I was like, oh, my God. Speaking of which, week 1, where will we be?
Oh, we will be at the Big Apple Sports Palace. I was going to do a plug for them, but I don't have it in front of me.
Right.
But, yeah, we're going to be out there week 1. We're going to have all sorts of games and contests and prizes. One of the big things that we're going to be doing that day is we're going to have one of those Super Bowl box pool type deals, but it's going to be for the main game at 4 o'clock that night. You're going to have
which is Packers Niners.
Oh yeah,
that's a good one.
So a little rope a dope to keep the people in. You can't win unless you're there, so that's fine. I would like that if somebody wins and then they leave and then they can't collect.
And then what do we do with the money? Buy more beers?
Make it rain. I kind of need that, actually.
Yeah, I hear you. But no, this is 49ers Packers is a real good game.
Yeah.
The Thursday night game is tremendous. Baltimore, Denver, and it's kind of messed up that they're making Baltimore the Super Bowl champs go out on the road, man.
The last time they did that?
Who?
The Bucks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when the Bucks won the Super Bowl, they made them open the season in Philly, and
was
they won
those
like
Thursday night games then?
No, it was a Monday night game.
Yeah, it wasn't Thursday night game. Those Thursday night games wasn't the defending Super Bowl champion. They just had I remember because the Giants, my freshman year of college, they had the Giants play the Niners on opening
right.
night.
No, but because I remember the year before New England, because I was actually at this game. I don't know why, but
you were working for the hockey team.
Yeah. So hey, you know better than I do.
I remember. Yeah, I remember. You saying
that's what it was. You win the Super Bowl, you open up the season on that main primetime game. But it was a Monday night game. It just wasn't the game to lead it off. But in that game, that line's at Denver -8, -9. It's a very high number, and it kind of makes you wonder. Maybe Denver wants some redemption on Baltimore for last year.
They had that game, man.
I think Baltimore's going to cover this game. I'm going to tell you right now. I don't
Baltimore.
think Denver. A lot of smoke's getting blown up their ass right now. They got all these weapons on offense. I'll tell you what, that running back situation not being cleared up is a huge problem for this team.
I agree with you. And actually, we'll get into it Epstein in the fantasy finish. But No Sean Marino is one of the hottest pickups in fantasy because, like you just said, Ronnie Hillman's fumbling the ball all over the place, and Monty Ball, can't get it done on third down. He can't block.
Yeah.
So actually, No Sean is they might go, with the old triumvirate, the three-headed monster.
And then, Denver, you lose Doomerville,
and Von Miller.
Yeah, he's out too. So
Champ Bailey's been a little bit banged up.
This Denver team isn't all cherry pickings. I mean, they should win the division easily over any of these other teams, but look for them to have a 10-6. I'm loving them at an under right now.
I'll tell you what, though, that AFC is weak, man.
Very weak. Very weak.
The NFC is stacked. The Steelers, who are usually always right there, they look down. They lost their running back.
Yep.
They're getting a little bit old. That offensive line is question mark. Mike Wallace goes to Miami. New England with all the weapons that they've lost. Our boy Aaron Hernandez, Gronk a question mark. Welker's in Denver. Who knows? I mean, they're counting on this guy Kembrell Tompkins, and Sudfield to be, two of their main guys. Amendola's always hurt, but that AFC is absolutely weak. And I'll tell you what, who's the weakest of the week? The Jets, dude. The Jets don't stop, bro. They don't stop embarrassing themselves. They really don't. that press conference with Rex Ryan, like there were some people saying that's going to get him fired. Like Peter King from SI.com, he was like, that's going to be Rex Ryan's biggest mistake, putting Sanchez in that fourth quarter. And then that press conference, he was an embarrassment.
I don't think that's a mistake putting Sanchez in the fourth quarter. You still need to get this guy some work. I mean, listen, he needs all the work that he can get.
Do you think one or two series in the fourth quarter of the preseason game is going to make any difference in how bad Sanchez is? Do you think it's going to get him that much better? I don't. Sanchez has been the quarterback for 4 years. You know exactly what he is. He's a turnover machine. That's not going to change. Getting him a series or two. He's your. You don't start. Your week one starter who after Geno threw 3 picks and ran out of the back of the end zone.
Hi-oh.
Yeah. You don't put him in the fourth quarter of a game with your second and third string offensive lineman. Because he took a shot the first play he gets sacked, and then he took a shot before the shot that he got hit. So, it was just a silly move. Like, you want to get Sanchez reps? All right, we'll give him more reps in practice. That's not the time or the place. You don't do it there. He's going to be your week one starter. And plus, you know what Sanchez is. Everyone knows what Sanchez is. He was a capable quarterback when he had an awesome offensive line and a very good running game. He had some decent weapons on the outside. He had a tight end in Keller who was a security blanket, and he was able to make some plays off the play action. He can't carry a team. Now the offense as a whole for the Jets, that offensive line should be a little bit better this year. But last year they have no weapons. Holmes, he's another enigma.
He should stay home.
Yeah. Well, he tried to. They said he got the doctors cleared him. He could have been in training camp, and the day after training camp ended, he activated himself. So he wants no part of anything. So Sanchez, is not going to carry you. I feel they're going to have Sanchez start the first 2 weeks. They played New England. I'll tell you what, you might want to save New England in the suicide for the Jets that Thursday.
Yeah, that's true.
Go Indy, then New England.
We actually have a user question from Nipsey once again. What's the obvious week one team that everyone will take that always loses?
Well,
it's pretty interesting.
Yeah. What was it? 2 years ago was New England and Kansas City. And I was running a suicide pool, and about 70% of the people had New England and got knocked out there.
Last year, New England week 2 against Arizona. I was the one that I got that one.
Oh, you got knocked out with that?
Oh,
Yeah,
that got me.
Brutal
And
loss.
what's funny too? I had Gostkowski in fantasy, lost by 1 point, field goal at the end. Definitely should have made
You
it.
missed it, right? Yeah.
Double whammy.
Yeah.
Double whammy. But I don't know. Yeah, you could look. Tampa Bay at the New York Jets. Listen, they're my boys. I love Tampa Bay, but this line scares the living shit out of me.
What's the line?
It's at 3. But they should be more. I don't like that line. Actually, to tell you the truth, it was 2.5 for a while. It's been moving up to 3 because so many people are laying money on Tampa. But I know a lot of people will probably think Tampa Bay against the Jets is an easy layup. Not so fast, my friends. It's going to be a defensive game, so anything can happen in that.
I'll tell you what, that Jets defense looked pretty good after that Giant game. After David Wilson broke that run, the Jets first string defense looked pretty good. That defensive line is very talented. Mo Richardson, who's a little banged up. I don't know what his status is, but they got some talent on that defensive line. Cromartie in the secondary, and Rex Ryan for all his shenanigans, he can coach the defense.
Right.
He absolutely can. But. I'm picking up Tampa Bay in a bunch of fantasy leagues because the Jets. I don't see the Jets moving the ball. I don't see it.
No.
Regardless of who their quarterback is. Sanchez might not even be there. It might be Geno. He's going to be throwing a ball all over the place. He's running out of the back of the end zone. His pet's heads are falling off. How about Matty Sims? I think I'm interested to see Matty Sims play.
Everybody's interested to see it. The third string
guy,
quarterback is everybody's favorite guy. He can do no wrong, and hey, if he does anything right, he's a hero.
Well, he's got the gene pool for it.
I think another game that two other games I think are pretty tricky here. You got Kansas City taking on Jacksonville. I think Kansas City should be favored a lot more in this game. I know it's
what's the line there?
3. It's varying from 3 to 4. You got a 3.5 in there. But when I saw this game originally, it was a solid 3,
right?
Even a 2.5 at one point. So people are laying the money on Kansas City there, but don't sleep on Jacksonville, man. Gus Bradley had a nice little draft this season. Got these boys playing. Kansas City last year had a very rough time. You don't know if this team's going to gel right off the bat.
Alex Smith and Andy Reid. What do you think?
Yeah, listen, I think in the long haul, it's a great move. It's just, we're talking right now about teams that could go down potentially, you know?
Yeah.
And I think another one, Seattle at Carolina. Seattle got to make that cross-country trip. Never an easy thing. Playing at 1 o'clock
stay away
in
from
the
that game.
afternoon.
It's suicide.
Seattle's favored by 3. They're obviously a much better team than Carolina, so the fact they're only favored by 3 is a
I
little
think
troublesome.
Carolina's kind of putting some pieces together. I think they're looking all right.
Yeah.
I took D'Angelo. I had a draft last night. I took D'Angelo Williams like the 7th round, which I really didn't like. But
he's a starter.
He's starting, right?
Yeah.
So they got Tolbert though, and Cam runs it in from the goal line. I got a little bit mocked for that pick.
Uh-oh.
A little mocking was going on. Actually, we did it at the Tilted Kilt in Jersey City. It was a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
good time.
stopped in there. Had a beer the other night. It was actually the night before last night.
Good.
So
I'm
that
glad
would
you
be
didn't come when I was there. Yeah.
Why? That was late. All right, we don't need to get into personal things here. All right, so where do we go from here?
Real quick. The Giants scared the heck out of me. They absolutely scare me. They look. Besides that David Wilson run, the Jets game, the offense is completely out of sync. Nix is wide open in the end zone. Eli either overthrows him or Nix. They couldn't hook up. Eli hasn't looked sharp at all. You got Cruz hurt, Hynoski's hurt. JPP still hasn't played yet. We lose Stevie Brown to a freaking ACL tear and that freaking Geno interception. Antral Roll's still banged up. I'm scared. I could easily see the Giants losing. I don't like the way the season's headed already. I really don't. I
think you're going down. I think you're going down week 1. I think you're going down to Dallas.
I wouldn't be surprised.
You've won too many times at Dallas. I think
we're 4-0.
The tide's going to turn, and all that's going to be done. But before we get out of here to go to our commercial break, 2 games that I absolutely love spread-wise on the opening weekend. When I did my picks last year, I had a little segment called 2 upsets that shouldn't surprise you.
Where did you have a segment?
The safehouse.com.
Okay.
The original blog that I did before 14A Sports.
We don't even talk about that. That's dead to me.
All right, well, fair enough.
All
right, so I had a segment on there. There's 2 upsets that you shouldn't be surprised if they happen.
Remember that, yeah.
So, I went 8 for 0 the first
8 for 0?
8-0 the first couple ones.
8
but
for 8.
I had this incredible run of all these picks, but there's a pick on here that reminds me a lot of a game last year on week 1 when St. Louis took Detroit, toe-to-toe in week 1 last year. But Tennessee at Pittsburgh. Tell you what, a lot of people are going to be on Pittsburgh in week 1.
I don't like Pittsburgh at all.
They're a 7-point favorite in this one, but Tennessee actually beat Pittsburgh last year. It was in Tennessee, but it's not so much Pittsburgh. It's not Tennessee that I'm worried about. It's Pittsburgh that I'm worried about. I don't think they're ready to be a 7-point favorite against anybody.
Yeah,
right now.
I'm not a believer in Pittsburgh at all. I think they're going to miss the playoffs. I don't like them at all. I think Roethlisberger's taken too many hits over the years. That running back situation's a mess. They lose their top receiver.
Absolutely.
Their offensive line is young and inexperienced. They lose Willie Colon, who's a staple there. I don't like Pittsburgh, man. I don't like them at all. I like where you're going with the Tennessee pick.
I actually like Tennessee to make a run at the playoffs this year. Maybe a little 9-7.
Well, which Chris Johnson are you getting? That's what it comes down
to.
The
good one.
Which Chris Johnson?
CJ2K.
I actually read our boy Kenny Britt, man. He doesn't look good coming off the coming off the ACL. No, he doesn't look good. He doesn't have the explosiveness. His knee's been bothering him, so that's something to look out for. But
sweet Jesus.
Yeah, not good.
All right, and then one more pick that I wanted to get to before we get out of here, or to the break. New Orleans -3 home against Atlanta. On this one, I think they're going to blow the roof.
I agree.
They're going to blow the roof off the Superdome.
I think Shawnee Payton being back, man. I think New Orleans is primed for a big year. I think they're primed for a big year. You know what though? The switch of defense I don't love. They're going to the Rex or the Rob Ryan defense, but I think that offense is going to be firing on all cylinders,
absolutely.
man. Firing. They're going to score. They're going to score 30, 40 points a game.
Yeah, I love it. The over in this one too, 54. We're going to see some points in that one.
Yeah, no
doubt.
doubt.
We're on the same page with those. Very
right.
nice. Very
all
nice.
Right.
I mean, obviously in cyberspace, you'd rather watch us rip each other's heads off, but
we'll get there.
Screw you.
We'll get there.
We have an hour left. All right, so let's get to a video right now before we get to the Coles News Network. This one's from the Scandals, local guys. And this one's called All Nighters. We're 14A Sports on 15 Minutes Fame Radio. We'll be right back.
15 minutes of fame. Let's go.